The suburban streets of Irvine, California, were bathed in the golden glow of a late afternoon sun. But inside my modest ranch-style home, a shadow hung heavier than the dusk. I'm Clara, a 58-year-old high school English teacher who'd spent decades shaping young minds and nurturing a family. My kitchen, with its faded floral curtains and oak table, was once the heart of our home, where I graded papers and cooked Sunday roasts. Tonight, though, it felt like a crime scene. The air thick with suspicion. The old wall clock, a wedding gift from my late father, ticked with a relentless rhythm, each second a jab at my fraying nerves. My husband, David, had just shuffled in from another consulting gig, his grey suit jacket slung over his shoulder, his tie loose like a noose he couldn't wait to shed. At 60, he still had that accountant's polish, neatly trimmed beard, a disarming smile that once made my heart flutter. But tonight, his eyes avoided mine. His shoulders slumped with something more than fatigue. A faint scent trailed him, not his usual cedar cologne, but something floral, sweet and foreign, like peony. "Long day, Clara," he muttered, collapsing onto the recliner without a glance my way. The scent lingered, an intruder in our home, knotting my stomach. I tidied up, a reflex from 33 years of marriage, gathering his keys, wallet, and phone from the counter. His phone screen glowed, an email notification. David always said, "Clara, email's a hassle. I'd rather call." Yet there it was, from Blossomsky, gmail.com. "You were magic tonight, Pops." "Why, Pops?" My heart lurched. David was only Pops to our son Nathan. I glanced at the bedroom, where his snores had begun. A mocking lullaby. With trembling fingers, I opened the email. 5 words. "You were magic tonight, Pops." A pink heart emoji stabbed my chest. Who was this? Why so intimate? I scrolled for more, but the inbox was barren, suspiciously clean. My mind raced. David's late nights had grown frequent. Client meetings in Santa Ana, 20 miles away, when he'd always complained about traffic. I set the phone down, hands shaking, and checked his jacket pockets. A crumpled receipt from Morton's Steakhouse, Santa Ana, $175, party of 2, Pinot Noir, filet mignon, crab linguine, dated tonight. He'd told me he was in Anaheim. The wine was the one we'd toasted with on our 20th anniversary, a memory now tainted. Who was he dining with? I snapped a photo of the receipt, my pulse hammering, and slipped into the garage. David's SUV was still warm, reeking of gasoline and that peony scent. My flashlight swept the driver's seat, loose change, a coffee cup. In the glove compartment, my fingers brushed something slick. A used tube of personal lubricant, cap loose, residue dried on the edge. My breath caught. David and I hadn't been intimate in years. He'd blamed age, stress, his bad back. So what was this? I photographed it, hands trembling, and tucked it back precisely. Under the passenger seat, I found napkins, crumpled, soaked in that peony perfume. Not my lavender. I snapped more photos, each click a nail in the coffin of my trust. Back in the kitchen, I sat, staring at my phone's gallery. The email, the receipt, the lubricant, the napkins. My intuition, honed by decades as a wife and teacher, screamed betrayal. But with who? And why, Pops? I checked his messages. Dry work texts. Nothing else. His email was too sterile, like he'd scrubbed his tracks. The clock's ticking taunted me, the house's silence suffocating. I didn't sleep, my mind a storm of questions. Morning came, and I played the dutiful wife. David shuffled in, grabbing coffee. "Big client today, Clara," he said, eyes on his mug. "Might be late." His tone was rehearsed, casual. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Be safe," I said. But inside I was screaming, "Who are you meeting?" He patted my shoulder, a hollow gesture. and left. The door's slam echoed like a gunshot. I couldn't wait. I needed answers. I called my colleague Rachel, who'd used a private investigator after her divorce. "Clara, you okay?" she asked, sensing my tremor. "I need that PI's number," I said. "David's hiding something." She texted me Paul Carter, PI, 949-5555, Riazainuios, discreet. I called Paul, my voice unsteady. "Mrs. Thompson, send me what you've got," he said, calm but firm. "I'll start today." I emailed the photos, receipt, lubricant, napkins, email screenshot, and waited, my heart a drumbeat of dread. At noon, I met Paul at a coffee shop in Irvine. Its wooden tables and espresso aroma, a stark contrast to my turmoil. Paul was mid-40s, lean with eyes that saw through lies. "This is serious, Clara," he said, scrolling through my evidence. "I'll tail him tonight. Stay calm. Don't tip him off." I nodded, throat tight. "I need the truth," I whispered. He gave a reassuring nod and left. I sat, sipping tea, feeling like a stranger in my own life. 33 years of marriage, raising Nathan, teaching kids. Had it all been a lie? That night, I graded papers, the red pen shaking in my hand. At 11 p.m., Paul's message came. A photo. David, in his navy blazer, entering a Santa Ana restaurant, hand in hand with a woman. I zoomed in and my world collapsed. It was Megan, my 31-year-old daughter-in-law, Nathan's wife. Her black dress hugged her curves. Auburn hair loose, lips painted red. They looked like lovers, not in-laws. Another photo showed them at a candlelit table, her hand on his smile intimate. A look he hadn't given me in years. A video followed, Megan whispering in David's ear, him laughing, a sound so warm it cut me. They left, his arm around her, heading to his SUV. I sank onto the couch, chest tight. Megan, who I'd helped through Nathan's long firefighting shifts, who I'd taught to make my grandmother's cornbread. At family barbecues, she and David barely spoke. Nathan joked, "Meg thinks Dad's too serious." It was a performance, a cruel act. My son's wife and my husband. How long? Why? Paul's next message hit at 2 a.m. They're at the Westin Santa Ana, room booked. More come in. Photos showed them on a balcony. David's arm around Megan, her head on his shoulder. A brief kiss, fleeting but devastating. I replayed it, each frame a wound. David's tender gaze, the way he tucked her hair behind her ear. Gestures he'd once saved for me. I saved everything to a flash drive, hands shaking. The house's silence was oppressive, the floral curtains mocking me. Morning brought worse. Paul's photos showed David and Megan, leaving a lawyer's office in Santa Ana. Her in a sleek blazer. Him holding a folder labeled Thompson Investments. A video caught them in his SUV, Megan marking papers, David nodding. Paul's note, "They're planning to drain your savings account. Mention at a notary to forge your signature." My savings, $200,000 from years of teaching and my parents' inheritance, was their target. They weren't just cheating. They were stealing my future. I sat in the living room, the clock ticking like a heartbeat. David had never balanced our checkbook or planned our budget, but he'd smiled at family dinners, posing as the supportive husband. Now he and Megan wanted my money. My rage hardened, cold and sharp. I wouldn't let them win. At dinner, David was chatty, oblivious. "Big deal, Clara. Might need you to sign some bank papers. Investment stuff." His smile was too smooth. I heard Megan's voice in my head. "Hurry with the fake contract." I nodded, playing along. "Sure, I'll look at them." He relaxed, sipping wine, unaware I was plotting. That night, his keys sat on the nightstand, his snores loud. I crept to the garage, heart racing. The SUV smelled of peony and gasoline. The lubricant tube was there, freshly used. My stomach churned, but I stayed focused. I took it to the kitchen, scrubbed my hands with lemon soap, and grabbed industrial super glue from the toolbox, used for fixing classroom desks. I emptied the lubricant, filled it with glue, shook it to match the texture, and tested a drop. Seamless. I placed it back, wiped my prints, and adjusted the seat. In the trunk, I found more napkins, reeking of peony, and a hotel keycard. I photographed everything, my evidence mounting. I set the fire trap, a skillet with oil, a string tied to the stove's igniter, run to the back window for remote pulling. A test produced thick smoke, enough to alarm neighbors without damage. I hid a voice recorder behind a photo frame in our bedroom. Nathan's wedding picture, bitter now. It would catch every word. Next morning, I told David, I'm going to Anaheim for a teacher's conference. Back late. His eyes gleamed. Relief, not concern. Enjoy, Clara, he said, kissing my cheek. I smiled, but inside I was steel. Instead of Anaheim, I went to my neighbor Linda's house across the street, a retired librarian who'd always been kind. Clara, something wrong? She asked, seeing my bag. Just need to watch the house, I said. She nodded, offering coffee and a window view. At 10 a.m., Megan arrived in a cab, wearing sunglasses and a tight dress. David ushered her in, checking the street. I activated the recorder app, headphones in. Their laughter echoed. Glasses clinked. David's voice. No hotel today, Meg. Clara's gone. Megan giggled. Finally, no old hag spying. Old hag. My blood boiled, but I waited. The bed creaked, sounds I blocked out. Then, Megan's scream. We're stuck! What's this? David cursed. Hold still. I pulled the string via my phone. The skillet ignited, smoke pouring out the kitchen window. Linda gasped. Clara, your house! Neighbors gathered, shouting, Call 911! Mr. Gomez dialed the fire department. I feigned panic, my heart steady. The recorder caught Megan sobbing. Do something, David, he growled. I'm trying. Sirens wailed. Nathan, my son, leapt from the fire truck in his chief's uniform, face grim. Possible occupants, he shouted, leading his team. They broke the door, hoses ready. Nathan's voice cracked through the recorder. Dad! Megan, what the hell? A firefighter muttered. Jesus! Another stifled a laugh. Nathan roared, Quiet! The smoke was doused. Just oil. But the bedroom was chaos. David and Megan, stuck together, wrapped in sheets, were carried out on stretchers. Megan crying, David pleading, Cover us! Neighbors filmed, phones out. That's Clara's husband with her daughter-in-law. Mrs. Patel gasped. Poor Clara. Linda recorded, whispering, You planned this, didn't you? I nodded, silent. Nathan emerged, face ashen, eyes broken. I wanted to hold him, but stayed put, letting the truth burn. At the hospital, I played the shocked wife. A doctor said, Mrs. Thompson, they're separated. Minor irritation. I nodded, swapping their ointment with mustard from my bag. A final sting. Minutes later, Megan screamed, It burns! David cursed. What is this crap? Nurses rushed in. Patients stared. A woman whispered, That's the affair couple from the viral video. Linda's footage had spread, the suburb buzzing. Nathan brought the envelope I'd hidden. Photos, videos, audio, divorce papers. I handed them to David and Megan, bedridden, humiliated. Sign, I said, voice cold. You're done. Megan sobbed. Nathan, I'm sorry. He walked out silent. David pleaded. Clara, let's talk. I cut him off. 33 years ends here. I left, Nathan's hand in mine, his pain mine. Weeks later, my savings were safe. The forgery exposed. David and Megan faced fraud charges. Her confession revealed David's manipulation, isolating him. I started a support group for betrayed spouses. Finding purpose. Nathan helped at home, his smile returning. The community rallied, calling me a survivor. My home, my son, my life, mine again. Life Solver's lesson. At Life Solver, we share stories of resilience. Clara's revenge exposed a cruel betrayal, saving her savings and dignity. Infidelity impacts 20% of marriages, often tied to financial manipulation. Clara's $175 receipt and a lubricant tube led to justice. What would you do? Share your city and thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and join Life Solver for more stories that inspire. Support us with a super thanks to keep these tales coming. See you next time.